Hello.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Uh, I'm Felix Sawere from Maseno University, and I'm glad to be taking you through JavaScript today. So, there will be no slides. This course is entirely practical. Uh, so, for us to begin, we are going to look at Introduction to JavaScript, and then we are going to talk about where we should be placing our JavaScript code. And then we are going to talk about some various ways of JavaScript outputs. Then we're going to look at statements. Then we'll look at the syntax. And then, of course, we'll check about JavaScript variables. Then we'll look at operators. Then we'll look at data types. And then from there, we are going to jump straight into control structures where we'll look at if else, and then we'll look at the switch statements, and then we'll look at the loop. So after that, we're going to take a look at arrays and objects, and then we'll take a look at functions and look at array functions, string functions, math, and user-defined functions. So and then we will finalize with error handling and then look closely at the JavaScript HTML DOM, under which you're going to build a simple JavaScript calculator. So let me just start by presenting my screen. Uh, yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting session, by the way. So there we go. Uh-huh. Mm. Are you able to see my screen? Good. So the
Excuse.
calculator. Sorry?
Hello. Hello, Awere. Hello.
Yes.
Your screen is clear and we can see you. I don't know if these people have joined here. Maybe if you're live, you can just send hi that you are available. And also, we are also live in the Google Meet. So just feel free in case you don't feel okay with the live streaming, which is in YouTube. You can just join also in the Google Meet. Okay, so what is expected from you now is that you pay attentive in class. You don't code via along with the instructor, and you make sure that you have done the practice after that. So the code will be sent, and then I will post it in your email addresses also in the YouTube link down below. So you ensure that. So I will request Aware that in case you are done with the code, you might push it in your GitHub account where I will share with them the GitHub account for them to visualize or to do the recap of what we have discussed today. So pay much attentiveness and you stay focused. Enjoy your lesson.
Thank you so much, Jack, for the introduction. So before I start, I'm going to create a new repository in my GitHub where we're going to store all the codes that we'll write today. So there we go. I'll open it and boom. So coming through just a moment. Good. So meanwhile, as it opens, we want to talk about introduction to JavaScript. So basically, JavaScript is a language that was majorly designed for programming on the web. So that was then, but nowadays it can be used in almost every platform. We find the client side, server side, mobile, um, even yeah. So let me just create this new repository here. I'm gonna name it JavaScript JavaScript Bootcamp. In here, it's gonna be private. Just add a README file there, and I'm going to click on creating a repository. Once the repository is done, I'm going to clone it in my PC. So there we go. I'll just do open a terminal here, and I will be comfortable to just git. Sorry about that. Git clone. Then I'll paste the link there. So once I paste the link, I'll just cd. Okay, I just cd desktop first of all. Let me just clone it. Yeah, cd JavaScript bootcamp like that. So once I'm inside, I'll try to open it through my VS Code. I'll open folder and there we go. So JavaScript bootcamp. Yeah, we are there. So I hope my screen is clear. So currently we just have a readme.md. I can recall in the last lessons we learned some basics of HTML and CSS. So today we'll be learning about JavaScript, but I will be making some references to what we had learned previously. So I'm just gonna create an index.html file. Okay. Something's here. Okay. Good. So I'll just rename this to index.html. And then I will create a style.css. And of course, the final thing, we're going to create script.js. So let me just get good to go. So we'll
Uh,
begin from there.
Hello.
So
Before you
basically,
start, hello. Before you
uh-huh,
start, maybe you can just zoom in
yes.
for visibility.
Okay, let me zoom in more. Okay. Control plus.
Okay, now it is clear. Now you can continue. And for that, if you have a question, you can just feel free to type it in the chat there. And also, if
Okay.
you, yeah, for the students, if you have a question, you can post it in the group, in the live chat, or you can just type it because it's also being streamed in the Google Meet. You can also chat your question there. So continue, Mr. Well.
the first thing we are going to code. So basically, where do we place our JavaScript code? So JavaScript code is very flexible in that it can either be placed inside the HTML page or it can be placed outside the HTML page. I'm going to show you how we can do all those configurations. So we're going to start with the first part, which we keep JavaScript inside the HTML page. So I'm just going to create a HTML boilerplate, and it will generate for me that. So once I have that, if I want to run JavaScript in this page, what I basically just want to do, I'll just write a script there and just close it. So in this, okay, there's a typo here. So in this kind of statement, anything that I write here that is JavaScript will be able to be executed in the browser. For instance, let me just save this file and then I'll try to open it in the browser, right? So I will just copy the path, go to my browser, and basically just paste it here. So this way, currently there is nothing inside because I haven't started writing on it. But yeah, so for us to start, there is one simple statement that normally we start with hello world. So I will just try and write alert hello world. Uh, so basically what this is going to do, it's going to print an alert of hello world in my browser. So when I just refresh this page, you'll see something like that happen. So that shows you that JavaScript is running on the browser. There are also multiple ways of showing that JavaScript runs on the browser. For instance, we have the console, which is normally opened when you press F12. You'll see something like that, which will open. So here also, there are some commands that can be able to be written there. For instance, we have console console.log hello world. So when I save that file and I come to the browser here, that will something on the screen. So basically, I was trying to show you where we can place JavaScript code, and of course, we now want to see another part where we can do it. So assuming I wanted to place the same code in this file, currently it is clear. So when I basically try to just copy what I just wrote here on this page and take it to script.js, then it means that something it's going to happen. Uh, there we go. Why is it taking some time? Yeah, so we find out something like that. But now this one cannot run. Why? Because we have not yet linked it to the browser. So let me just comment this first line. Let me just leave it like that. So when I try to run this file, when I now try to refresh my browser, you realize that happens. Nothing happens because, oh sorry, I didn't save the HTML file. It's stubborn. There we go. No worries, we'll just deal with it. Let me just save this file. This is kind of consuming a lot of process, so I guess I'm just hello, hello, hello. Okay, let's continue. Let me just reshare these again.
Hello, we like your screen. Oh, okay, you are sharing it again.
Okay, I hope it is clear now.
Yeah, it's clear.
Good, so let me just continue. I think this will be much faster. So, like I said, I was actually trying to explain to you where to place our JavaScript code, whereby
Yeah.
we reached the script part. So I just want to demonstrate if this is going to run, and if I try to refresh the browser, we find out that nothing is happening. So the reason because nothing is happening is because we did not issue a script src there. So we should issue a script src. This src basically should take uh, the link to the link to the script. So when I save this browser again, when I save that code again and now I try to run, you find out that the hello world is back. So we also have some various ways of JavaScript output. Uh, so we could output JavaScript in various ways. We could do a document, for instance. I'll now be using this screen for a purpose. So basically, we could do document.write. Could do, let me just erase. Could do document.write. We could also do document.getElement by ID. Get element by ID. We could also do document dot okay, we could also do alert, and we could also do console.log. So I'm going to demonstrate how these all work. So document.write, basically it just writes to the whole document. For instance, when I say document.write hello world, when I go to the browser, these will basically just print for me hello world. As you can see, there we go. When I do For instance, now document.getElement by ID. In this state, we need to kind of come back to the HTML page here. So basically what we'll do in the HTML page, we're just going to maybe create an element like a paragraph, and we can assign it an ID of maybe my paragraph. So basically we could leave it blank, or maybe we want to change this to hello world. Okay, hello world. We want to maybe change it to something like, I want to learn JavaScript, right? So what I will do, I can just come here, let me just comment this and just say document dot get element by ID, and then I'll just say my paragraph. And then for us to finish the statement, we finish with dot inner HTML. So we are trying to access its property and changing it now to I love JavaScript. Sorry, I love JavaScript, not JavaScript, yeah. So once I'm there, we want to see what will happen to these files. So basically when I refresh the browser, you find out that it's writing I love JavaScript, but this one cannot really be achieved like that. So maybe we could do something in the HTML whereby we say we might create a button, maybe say click me there, and then I do an on click. This is a function, we are going to learn about it later. Maybe just want to put this in a function like that. So I will save that, come back to JavaScript and just do a function, my function like that. So just write I love JavaScript, as simple as that. So when I try to go back to the browser and refresh, you see a button here telling me to click it. When I click on the button, it changes to I love JavaScript. So basically that is another way of outputting JavaScript. We also have the last one, which is alert, which I showed you when I was trying to test the linking. So for alert, you just write one single statement, alert, hello world, and you are good to go. So when I refresh my browser, you find something like hello world. So let me just comment this so that we don't get confused. There we go. Nice. Yeah, so it just gives us an alert of hello world. And then we have the console.log. You'll realize that something is going to be outputted in this part. So when I try to just run this again, I'll just comment the alert, try console.log hello world. You realize that this is going to output somewhere there. So when I refresh my browser, you find out there is a hello world there. So basically, we are going to look at statements. So a statement can be something as simple as console.log 1 plus 1, 2 plus 3. So basically they are the smallest unit of code in a JavaScript program, like what I've just been writing here. So we have the statement part. So from there, we'll move to, okay, from there we will move to we move to the syntax. Now we want to move to the real thing now. How do we write a JavaScript code? How do we write a JavaScript code? So basically, what we can do here, um, the syntax of JavaScript is much close to the syntax of these other languages like C, Java, C++. So the rules that we follow, they kind of they're just this almost the same, but we have some statements that might vary. So for instance, if I wanted to maybe declare a function, like I tried doing that in the beginning, you would just write function, maybe that function. Then you realize that some statements would go there. Some statements will go there like that. So this is one of the these are the syntaxes. So maybe you wanted to declare a variable. You can either use a maybe let x is equal to that, which will come through later, maybe 5, or var p is equal to 8, or maybe, yeah. So so basically this is the syntax. You saw something like document dot get element by id. So this is also one of the rules that we can use. So it is something that is very wide. So the next thing we are going to learn about will be, we're going to look at the variables in JavaScript. Now, how do we declare our variables in JavaScript? For instance, what are variables? We can say that variables are basically just temporary storage in the memory, right? So, like I said, if you want to declare a variable, we can use we could use either let, or we could use var. So most probably most of you must have been conversant with var, but let used to be done during before ES 2015 of JavaScript. So let's just begin. So for instance, maybe we want to store a value of x. When declaring a variable x, you can just say let x. That one we've declared. We want to assign a value to x, you can say x is equal to maybe 5. And if you want to know what we just did, we can try outputting it by doing console.log 5 like that. Let's see how this turns out on the browser. So when I refresh my file, you see something like that. So maybe let me say you wanted to use something like var y is equal to maybe 9. So you can also console.log 9. I mean console.log y log y. So we are supposed to do x there. Sorry. So when I refresh this browser, you see 5 is consoled, 9 is also consoled. So variables can be of any type. For instance, we could have a variable of a number. We could have a variable of, let me just list them here. We could have a number. We could have a string. It could be an array. could be an object. Nice. So basically, let me say you want to store maybe a variable of an array. It is also very simple. Just do let x, not really x, you cannot really declare variable, sorry about that. So we can say maybe let my array is equal to 0, 78, 9, 6, 5. So this one, the beauty of JavaScript, it will also just display this. We can just say console.log my array, and it will not disappoint you. When you look at the screen, you find that it is displaying something like that. For a string, maybe we have let admission is equal to CCS 03003 So if I want to print this, we can just sorry about that, console.log admission. Okay, so until there are in variables, anybody who has a question for me? Anybody who has a question? Any question?
Uh, there's there's someone who is asking.
Mhm.
Hello.
Hello.
There's someone who is asking. Dennis Murithi have just posted a question here that the difference between the inner HTML and the inner text, and also Peter Nyando have have asked that when do we use let or var. Yeah.
Mhm.
So those are the two questions so far which I'm seeing. So if you are in a position, you can just answer them.
All right, let me just answer them. So, which one do I start with? Okay.
You can start with the Dennis, for the one for Dennis Morite.
What was this? Keep saying again. Let me just
The
refer it.
difference between the yeah, the
Difference
difference
between?
between the inner HTML and inner text.
Good. So, inner HTML and inner text, basically, they are all objects of the HTML. They are all properties of HTML document object model. The difference of inner HTML is that inner HTML will accept any HTML element, whereas inner text will only be able to accept a text like this one. For instance, inner HTML could accept something like maybe inner HTML could accept something like maybe a paragraph, a whole paragraph, or a whole form, or maybe a whole division, whereas an inner text is just limited to a text.
Huh?
Uh, we are going to look at them later when we'll be looking at DOM manipulation. Yeah, so stick in. The next question, what was the
Uh,
next question talking about?
when do we use let and when do we use var? So
Nice. So basically, all of them are variables. All of them can be used interchangeably. The difference between var and let is that let can be used within a scope. There is something normally known as something like this.
yes,
I can say let x is equal to 9, like that.
yeah,
Uh, Whereas a var cannot be used there. And then another thing is that uh, a let cannot be redeclared, whereas a var can be redeclared. Let me just try to demonstrate that. So I can say var y maybe is equal to 78. As you can see, there was a variable y here. I just tried to redeclare here, but with this let, when I just did a x is equal to 5, I just did a x is equal to 5, and I try to do x let x. You see, even before I continue, my VS Code is already complaining. So var can be redeclared, whereas an x cannot be redeclared. So let's continue. So the next
And
thing
also,
we, uh-huh.
there's someone who is asking a very nice question here, that which type of font family are you using? Like,
Oh, my phone.
yeah, like the way you have commented the VS Code comments. Which kind of font is that?
Okay, it's called. Let me just refer. It has a very difficult name. Let me just. I'm going to, if we have time, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the font name.
Okay.
But until then, let's stick to the class. Okay.
Okay, so
So we have that, and then the next thing we were supposed to talk about was, of course, operators. So in operators, basically, uh, we have things to do with maybe plus, minus, multiplication. So let me just comment these ones, and let's move to operators. Uh, just comment this one too. So I just move to, okay. So did I just do? Uh, just do operators. So in operators, we normally have things like plus, we have things like minus, we have times. So these are normally known as arithmetic operators. You've heard of something like maybe x plus y is equal to z is equal to z. So there are many. So basically, this plus and this minus, these are operators. So for instance, we want to do we have types of operators. We have arithmetic operators. We have assignment operators. We have bitwise. Which one am I forgetting again? Which one am I forgetting again? We have comparison operators. We have yeah. Let's talk. We have logical operators. Exactly. So we are going to start with the arithmetic operators. So in the arithmetic operators, these are normally used for the normal arithmetic calculations. So for instance, we have examples to be plus, minus, times. So it's just as simple as just declaring two variables. So we can just say maybe let x is equal to 2, let y is equal to 7. So if I want to perform arithmetic operators to these, remember we were outputting them in the console. So if I just say console.log 2 times 7, this will give us, of course, it will give us 14. If I say console.log 2 plus 7, this is going to give us 9. If I say console.log 2 minus 7, 7 minus 2, okay, 2 minus 7, that's going to give us -5. And if I say maybe 2 divided by 7 is gonna give us maybe a decimal number like that. So those are basically arithmetic operators. And then we have assignment operators. You remember when we were starting about variables, we said something like let x is equal to 10. Let me just comment this one so that they don't clash. Good, let x is equal to 10. So this equal sign here, that is an assignment operator. I only know about that one only. So we also have, so basically if I want to output this, of course we all know what will be outputted in the console. I don't know whether my English is good. Uh, we all know that it will be 10. So we also have something to do with the comparison operators. So comparison operators. Ever heard of something like we have equal to, not equal to, that one. We also have, don't mind that, that is this one is just three equal signs. It's being interpreted like that with this my font. So we also have something like that one, and then we also have greater than, we have less than. So these are comparison operators. Normally when we use these operators, they normally either return true or they return false. So in this case, let's see, let's again just comment these. I like using x and y. So let's try again. Let x is equal to 2. Uh, let y is equal to 9, right? So since we are using console to output our values, when I say console.log x is equal to y. So basically, this is supposed to print for us false because as we can see, x is not equal to y. So when we run that, it prints for us false. What about the three equal signs? So for the three equal signs, when we try again, this is also going to print for us false because even though the data type is the same, the values are not the same. So we have also maybe 2 is greater than 9. That one will also print for us false, as you can see. 2 is less than 9. For the first time, this is supposed to print for us true. And then we have 2 is, 2 is not equal to 9. This is going to print for us also true. And of course, they're not equal with the two equal signs. This means that both the data type and the values are not equal. So this is also going to print for us true. What about a scenario whereby we have something like 2 and maybe another 2, which is a string? Let us try what this will print. This could do, when we try that, it might print for us true. But now when we try the 3 equal sign, it will print for us false. Why? It's because the first one, this one, just tells us whether the values are equal, whereas this one just tells us whether both the values and the data types are what? Are equal. So we have, yeah, I think we've looked at most of them. We also have maybe ternary. We have a ternary operator, normally a question mark. So this one, normally it's normally used with the shorthand for if-else statement. Maybe I could do something like this. Okay, x is equal to y. Let me just could do x is equal to y like that. Then I say equal. I can just console.log equal, or else we normally use console.log. What was that? Console.log not equal. There we go. So when I try to run that file, I get this equal. Really? Oh yeah, yeah, because it was a string and string, but the values were okay. But when I try that, not equal. Good. So that's all about operators. We also have the maybe addition of strings, or maybe string concatenation. For instance, if I would try to just do okay, let me just comment this so that we'll refer to it. So if I would just try to do console.log x plus y. So I presume this is gonna print 22, if I'm not wrong. Good. The reason it's printing 22 is because an integer is trying to be added to a string. Other languages, this might be impossible, but in JavaScript, this is like a concatenation function. So yeah, let's move to the next thing, which is data types. So basically, we've seen we've actually interacted with a lot. Oh, any question until then?
Yeah, there's a question.
Uh-huh.
Someone was asking about the securities and the threats. So, like, is there security threats by using inner HTML? Maybe you can just start with
Security
that.
security threats by using inner HTML. Under which context?
It's just asking that is there a problem with that writing the. I think he was referring to uh, writing JavaScript inside the HTML. I think this is what he was trying to communicate. Okay,
Hmm.
let me try to answer this. Hello, let me try to answer this.
Mm-hmm.
Peter, it seems like so the reason why normally we work with the JavaScript differently, not being written inside the HTML is majorly just for the ease, even to make our code clean. You get it? So that's why normally there's that differentiation. Anyway, we can use a script tag which the instructor already has spoken about inside the HTML. So it will not harm you, but that one will create a bad user experience. So majorly we do separate it just to make our code clean. So security threat inside the by using JavaScript inside the HTML, there's no problem in that, but your code will be like it will create a very bad interface there. So I think I've answered it. So you can just let me know, Peter, if you are answered there. So you may proceed. Only that one was the question. Okay,
Aha.
and
Got
also
it.
And also there is someone also is saying here in that by having JavaScript inside the HTML, the value can be changed by the users. Actually, if you inspect, like the way instructor was trying to console to view to print out the output inside the console, if you inspect that space there, you are going to see the HTML code normally being the skeleton syntax of that HTML is being rendered out to that point. So there you can change it also if just for the security, so it can be changed. So that's why we decide to give the script just in a different file. Yeah, I think now you are answered, Dennis. If that's not enough, you can just post it again. Okay,
Okay, let's
you can
proceed.
proceed. Yeah, yeah.
So we want to talk about data types. So JavaScript has 8 data types. We have the string, we have the number, we have the big int, we have boolean. Is it boolean or boolean? We have undefined, we have null, we have symbol, and we have object. We might look at some of them. So first of all, when we start with a string, this is letter B. Yeah. So when we start with a string, first of all, so a string data type is basically just a collection of characters, and data types they normally go with the variables. So for instance, when I say let maybe my string is equal to hello. This hello, this is a string. This is a string. So we can also do maybe let x is equal to 14. So this one is a string. Let me just comment it there. This one is a number. We also have maybe we have something like let y is maybe a very extra large. It's always a very large number, like maybe something like that, something like that. So that could be a big int. And then we have maybe let is older is equal to true, right? So this one is a big int. Okay, let me just comment that. Then let is old is equal to true. This one is a boolean or boolean. And then we have something like let u variable, that's just a variable name, is equal to undefined. Surprisingly, undefined is a data type. Yeah, it is a data type. Then maybe let my null number is equal to null. So this is also a data type. So this is a null data type, and this is an undefined data type. If you want to verify these types, there's normally a function in Java called it's normally called type of. It's normally called type of. So maybe console.log type of my string. It will give you the respective data types. Console.log type of x. Console.log, what was that? Console.log type of y. We have console.log type of is old, right? Then console.log type of u variable, and console.log type of minor number. Good. So okay, looks like they're not supposed to be in bracket. It's single O. I didn't see that coming. Okay, let's just good. So when I save this and I try to run my browser, you see there's a number boolean, undefined object. This big number, I don't know, does it normally have something like n somewhere? Yeah, it normally has a n somewhere that big int. Let me try again. Yep. So we have a string, number, big int, boolean, undefined object, respectively, just like I tried to console them. So those are examples of data types that we could have. Any question? Any question?
Let me check you the question here. Okay, so far, I don't see the question, but I can see very nice argument which is going on inside there. This is a very good move. Okay, so far we don't have a question. Let me check the other way around. Okay, these my people also in the Google Meet. They don't have questions so far. So, um, so let me know in case is there someone who have a question. So in case someone have a question, you can just type it in the live chat or in the Google Meet, and you are going to be answered. Yeah. So just proceed.
Good. So I'm going to comment these and we are going to begin on the more interesting stuff. The control structures. So control structures, let me just do that. No, it's always that. Okay, it's this one, that one. Shift and that. Good. So these are control structures. So in control structures, we have examples to be if, we have if else, we have switch, and we normally have the loops. In the loops, we have the while loop and we have the for loop. Now, I'm going to start with the if else statement. So assuming maybe you are entering a club at night and there is that bouncer at the gate, and this guy just allows those people who have IDs. Hiyo nimeenda mbali sana. For instance, what happens in our Maseno gates? Maybe if you have ID, you enter. If you don't have ID, you are harassed there. So, for instance, that could be a real world example of an if statement. So let me say I wanted to compare something like just maybe let as meaning, okay, let age is equal to 18, right? So this is just something hard coded. So for instance, if I want to if I want to know whether this age is basically eligible to enter the club, I'll just do if age is equal to 18, what happens? Is greater than or equal to, sorry, is greater than or equal to 18. What happens? I will just console.log eligible to enter. Oh, this is much hard coded. Let me use the input box. So I'll just say let age is equal to window dot prompt. So this is one way to input JavaScript. Window dot prompt, enter your age, and then I'll say if age, since this will output it as a string, we need to convert this to a number. So I'll just wrap it in a number. If number age is basically greater than or equal to 18, then I can just alert eligible to party, else alert not eligible to do what? Not eligible to party. Not eligible to party. Save that. Let's try running our code. So if I run my code, it will tell me prompt, enter my age. So if I say maybe 10, this will print for me not eligible to party. If I enter an age of 19, this will print for me eligible to party. So that is all about if else. We have a situation whereby maybe you want to capture like multiple if statements. So maybe you can say, maybe here we had something like you wanted maybe to capture another instance, else if maybe age is now greater than 30. Now this is an adult, is not supposed to be enjoying the youth. So I can just say you are now grown. You are now grown up, like that. And then now else, now this one you can now say alert, you are still young. You're still young. So this is the situation whereby we have multiple instances of an if statement. So if I run this and I did 45, what is a 45-year-old going to do in a club? So, oh, there's something wrong. Let me just correct that instantly. If age is greater than 18, greater than or equal to 18, but less than 30. Let me see if that is going to follow my logic. Okay. 31. Okay, there's something not happening here. Okay. Yes. Oh, I saw it. I don't even need that. I just needed to wrap that into a number. Remember, it's capturing this as a string. That's why I might be getting that error. Now let's just try again. Number age is greater than 30, 31. Okay, there's still a typo there. Okay, let me just add it. Number age is greater than it's less than that. If that isn't the case, then I think we'll have to clear my cookies, because maybe it's, yeah, it tells me I'm now a grown up. So yeah, these are multiple instances of if statement. So we also have something known as the switch statement. So the switch statement basically is used when we are selecting, of course, also multiple instances, but now under single constant values. For instance, maybe you have something like let value is equal to yes. So for a switch statement, we're just going to do a switch value like that, and then I'll do a case yes. It will be followed by statements like uh, maybe console.log you selected yes. And then, of course, we must end each case with a break statement. Why? Because if we don't end with a break statement, it kind of will execute the all case statements that I'm about to keep here. We have the second case. This is a no. So for a no, console.log is you selected no, like that. Then we break. And then now we have the default. So in this case, you neither selected anything. So here we just say console.log. Maybe you didn't select what was there, like that. So once I have something like this, so for instance, I'll just be hard coding the value and just running in the browser for time. So initially the value was yes, it will tell me I selected yes. When I change the value to no, it tells me that I selected no. And when I say something like hello, it tells me that uh, you didn't select what was there. So that is basically how a switch statement can be can be can be used. So until there, any question? Any question? Okay, am I free to continue? All right. Uh-huh. Let us continue. So we have the next thing we are going to be looking at would be, of course, the loops. For the loops, we have the while loop. Let me just comment this. So we have the while loop. Just close section. Loops. So here we have the while loop. We have the for loop, and we have the while loop and the for loop. So loops are normally used for iterations when you want to execute a sequence of statements several times. For instance, maybe when you want to find a list of even numbers from 1 to 10, or a list of odd numbers from 1 to 10. For instance, let's try writing, maybe finding a list of even numbers from maybe 1 to 20 using a while loop. A while loop. So normally we initialize the value first of all, and then we do the statements, and then we can increment, right? So in this case, maybe you can say let number is equal to 0. So basically what this is going to do, it's just telling us that when we're starting to count these numbers, we start from 0. Then we'll just do while number is less than or equal to 20. Then what do? We just increment, or we just, first of all, we do if number modulus 2 will give us 0 because we want even numbers. Then we just console log the number. Else we just gonna increment the number like that. So we're actually trying to use an if statement inside a loop. Surprisingly, yeah, this is valid. It will work. So let us try to see what the console will show us. So you see it has listed for us all the even numbers between 0 and 20. We can write the same program using a for loop. For loop is much easier to master, because for that one I will just do for maybe let number is equal to 0, like we're just initializing everything inside the control structure. Number is less than or equal to 20, and then the number is incrementing. So this way, if I just do if number modulus 2 is equal to 0, to mean it is even, and then I just want to console.log number. Oh no, I mean the number is not a string, it's a variable. So there we go. So that one we don't need to put this because it's already on top here. This one is already there, and of course the let number is already here. So when I try to run this code, it will possibly give me the same results. So that is all about control structures. The next thing I'm going to look at is arrays and objects. Arrays and objects. Let me just create a section. Okay, under control structures, anybody with a question to ask under control structures? Yes.
Let me see if there's someone having a question. Okay, so far no one is having a question here, and also from the other side, let me check if someone have a question. I can't. Okay, I can't see a question here. Okay, so like you can just proceed. I don't see the question here.
Nice. So we move to arrays and objects. So we might have a situation whereby we have variables. We
Yes.
have multiple variables. Like for instance, you have something like let x is equal to 0, let x is equal to 1. Suppose you wanted to initialize numbers from 0 to 20. That will be very tedious. when you are just using variables. So to solve this issue, the array comes in. For an array, what you just need to do, is to just initialize your array, which could be just be let maybe my array is equal to. There we can start with a square bracket and do maybe 9, 18, 7, 5, 3. So this is a this is a simple way of just creating an array. The good thing with JavaScript is that it doesn't really need to rely on one data type. It is a loosely typed language, so you can even do let string arrays is equal to, I can write there Felix, James. So these are strings like that. So these are strings. So it can also be array of floating point values. It doesn't matter. You can even mix them. You can even add a 8 there. These will still be valid when it comes to Java. So this is a simple way of creating an array. So this array, when you want to access it, it's very simple. So when you're accessing an array, what we need to do, when you just do maybe my array, maybe 0. One thing to note that when accessing an array, when it's starting to name an array, each and every number starts from a 0. Each and every element starts from the 0 reference. So for instance, if you wanted to just print this one in the console, log that, like that, save the file, come to your browser, you find 9. It has already been printed there. If you wanted to print, maybe you want to print this guy on the screen, James on the screen, I just do console.log my string array of 1, because it starts from 0, 1, like that. So basically, these are ways of printing the array. You can also print everything in the array by just doing console.log my array, like that. So this is also valid, and it will print for you the array. So yeah, we also have another way of declaring an array using the new keyword. Maybe you want to do const chars and say new array. We have sub, maybe Volvo, and maybe TX. So this one can also be a way of printing and then accessing it, maybe accessing class1, class1 will print for you a Volvo. Okay. Yeah, class1 will print for you Volvo. So that is all about array array accessibility. So let's move to objects. So for objects, we have that. So what is an object? An object is basically just an instance. It's just an instance of a real world representation. I can say something like that. So let me say we wanted to input maybe some data in a database. For instance, we had something, maybe a student. You could just do let student. So this student, when I just name it like this becomes an object. So this object, normally it has some properties. maybe it has the admission. Admission is CS 03003 name. Can find maybe name. Maybe we can say Alex. Uh, Maybe we can say as as ID we can say yes. So this is an example of an object. This object, luckily, it can be, if you want to maybe print the whole thing, you can just print uh, the whole thing. For instance, let us just print it. When I click on save and refresh, you see admission, name, and a lot of other properties here that we have to look at. So if you want to access these properties, you can either just do, you can do them using two simple ways, which I'm going to show all of them to you. So for instance, if you want to access admission, I could just do console.log student.admission. So you do a dot to access the property. So there is possible. So again, we could also do let uh, let name admission. These are ES 2015. Uh, let admission name and has ID is equal to student, right? So this is called object destructuring. So it's gonna destructure these things one by one. So in this way, when I try to just console.log, maybe the name, because you already console the admission, it will print for me the name Felix. So what it has just done, it has destructured them into single objects that can be referenced as a variable. So that is all about objects. Anybody who has a question?
Uh, there's a question here.
Mhm.
Someone who is asking that why is that while you are displaying this function of the students, this array of the student,
Mm.
why were you getting there was still double quotes while you like when we are displaying the admission, we still have the double quotes.
Okay, because they were strings. Because they were strings, let me just add another thing. Maybe let age is equal to, okay, not really, okay, it's just age. Age, maybe we do 23, right? So
Yeah.
if I want to print that, now this one will give me a number. Console.log age. So let me just refresh. You see, it's now giving out the number, and even the object is now giving it as a number. Is he answered?
Yeah, I think he's answered. And mm, yeah,
Yeah.
so let me confirm. Let me confirm. So there's also a next question here which is asking that can you touch on map function, please? I think you will answer
Okay.
that. And
Okay.
also, yeah, as I am collecting another question from the other side, you can also see
Mm-hmm.
that the dot notation versus bracket. Please, when should you use either between the dot notation and the bracket?
Between the dot notation and the bracket. So the dot, the dot can be used. Okay, there is really no rule on whether you want to use the dot notation or you want to use the bracket notation. The difference is that the dot notation had been there This bracket notation, it's called object destructuring. It started with the ES 2015 when JavaScript was updated to ES 2015. So there is really no that specific rule whether to use which one or which one. But for instance, maybe if you just wanted to access only the name, maybe you can just use the dot. If you wanted to access more than one variable at once, or maybe all of them, or maybe two, or maybe just one, you could use the bracket notation. It's free depending on your needs. So for the functions like map, we have the array functions. That was actually what I was gonna talk about in my next section. We are going to look at them. We have the functions. Let me just comment these. Let me just comment that, and then I just do functions. So for functions, we're going to look at array functions. We're going to look at string functions, math functions, and then basically, possibly, we're also going to see how we can create our own function. So let me just create that section, functions. So I'm going to talk about array functions. I'm going to talk about string functions. I'm also going to talk about math functions. Math functions. So let's start with the array functions. So for the array functions, we have function like maybe you want to find the length. You want to change the array to a string. You want to look at the index of an array, or maybe you want to join, uh, and maybe map. There are a lot of them. I cannot talk about all of them in this lesson. I'll just leave for you a reference to look at more of them. But so I'm just gonna start talking about all of them. Suppose I have an array like let cars is equal to, maybe just say, let me just say let numbers is equal to 23, 55, 67, 20, 19, like that. So I want to find the length of these numbers. What I'll just do, I'll just console.log.
Just excuse me.
Yes.
You can as well push up the, because the comments is like
Okay.
you can
Yeah,
push
yeah.
up. Yeah, yeah, it's now clear. It's now clear.
Nice. So
Nice.
for instance, something like that. Sindio. So when I look at this in my browser, I get something like that, 5. So it's giving me the length of 5. We also have something like maybe we want to change these numbers to string. I'll just do console.log. You can just write the method, but I'm using console.log because I want to see the output. That is the only way I can see the output currently. So when I say numbers dot to string and I save that, this is going to give me the numbers as a string. As you can see, something like 23, 55, 67. This is now a string. when I want to do maybe to find an index of an array, I can say console, and an index of a value in an array, I can say console.log numbers dot at uh, numbers dot at maybe at 3. We want to look at 3. So at 3, and we save that, it will give us 20. 20 is what is in index 3. We can prove that by counting 0, 1, 2, and 3. So we have that. We also have console.log console.log. Maybe we wanted to join. Maybe we wanted to join numbers with another array, like let let uh, let maybe vars is equal to 22, 21, 30. So when we save that, I'll just say numbers dot join vars. If I try to console this log, I get something like that. Save, and yeah, you find out that they have been joined. They have been joined together. Nice. So let's look at the last method, which is map. So map methods is just as the name, it kinda just maps a value to another instance. For instance, maybe let me say these numbers here, I wanted to maybe also print their indexes in the console, or maybe just print, yeah. If I wanted to just print their indexes in the console, what I will do, I'll just say numbers dot map, and then I'll do number. So this number, I just want to return, uh, console dot log uh, number numbers dot add number uh, number dot add number, console dot log numbers dot add number, and maybe a string and the number itself, like that. So basically this is going to print the number and the index. Just a minute. And the training, let's say, just going to keep on. Okay, I hope you can still hear me. So yeah, so when I try to just save this and run it in my browser, oh, this can be fine. Let me see where there is an error. Numbers that are oh, right. So maybe I use a bad example. Let me just say maybe this is gonna save the student names.
This we have John, Dave. Mm, so okay, let's see what happens here. So let me say maybe I want to create a list, a list element, a list element. So what I will do, I actually do this. Actually a list. This could be nice maybe when I could be using it in React, but I just want to demonstrate what is gonna happen. So it's just basically going through everything and assigning it some multiple instances. Add the concatenation try again, and yeah, there we go. So this is one of the map functions. So we also have we also have the map function whereby we're going to look at things like sine, cosine, pi. Here we have things like sine, cosine, cosine, pi, etc. So math functions are basically the mathematical functions that most of us have already learned maybe in class or in high school. For instance, the pi. So until there, any question until there before I move on. Any question? No question. Okay. So I'll move to math function. Here I'll talk about sine, cosine, pi. So we start by defining the math object. So this math is just an object. So basically, if you want to see the properties of this object, let me just explore what is here. I save that file and the refresh my browser. We have things like this. We have the e, natural log, pi, square root, absolute value, cosine, sine, tan, normal, log to the square, maximum, so they are quite similar. Okay, please make sure you fill the form. I hope you can still hear me, even though it is raining. So let me continue. So, for instance, in a situation whereby you want to find maybe the value of the t, is a property. When I save that, it first gives me that value, mark dot strt. So don't really know what that does, but it's a property trying to print it in console. We have mark dot strt. So of course we have other functions like file, log, profile, like that. So you can have maybe a situation whereby you want to round off a number to the top. You can use mark the scale. Maybe you want to round up 0.081. Use mark the scale. This one is supposed to give you one. So I'm going to consult. Yeah, and, there we go. There we go. So that's all with the next function. So we're going to move to error handling. So in error handling, let me just connect this. So it normally have situations whereby there's some errors that occur to us at runtime, but we might not have control to at that time. So normally what we do, we try to make sure we don't uh, they don't happen. So for instance, we have okay, let's continue. So we're going to discuss about something very well. Try touch. Try touch. Try touch method. So basically the syntax just this right some statements.
Mi- Hello, Mr. Felix.
What?
It's like you are not that audible.
Yeah.
It's like students are complaining you are not that audible. So,
Uh, from where?
yeah, it's not okay. You go sawa sasa.
Okay. Okay. Uh, so going to write. Yeah. Good. So basically, this there is just so maybe we have a situation whereby we want to divide we want to divide a number by 9. So potential. Let's look for potential reasons. Maybe any potential error that we can have. trying to look for I will just continue. So maybe you can have something like before we even do the try segment, let me see if you can try the maybe 20 divided by 0. See what it will be like. This infinity. Okay, I need an error. So let me look for something that will give me an error here. Nice, nice. So for instance, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try writing. A very simple program here. So just allow me to go to my HTML page and just comment that. So once I have that, I'm just gonna rewrite that function again. So what is it supposed to do? You just want to maybe click it and it will give us an alert. Give us an alert. So, let's see how we do this. This is weird. Good. Maybe we have a variable that was not defined. Just an error. I just need something that can create an error. So for instance, maybe my function, right? So I can just say if I try to click this button, from here, so it will tell me something like my function is not defined. But I don't want it to say something like that. So I could uncomment this, like that. Uh, where maybe the let's see that page like that. Let's see this that thing. What if I say now my function function that after doing that I just insert this one insert or something like that, and then um, so I will say within what the element that I do maybe my ID, HTML, resources, I will initially when I save this and I come to my HTML file, this is my paragraph, the done is my ID. So I'm intentionally trying to create an error that you can see how this thing really works. So when I click my extension, my function. So it tells me cannot set properties of null. Why? Because I just put it there. If you just leave the error alone, it's trying to the syntax. But this is one of the way you can use to catch errors in JavaScript. Any question? Any question? If there are no questions, let's just discuss HTML then. So HTML, we are going to look okay. So, so basically, uh, in this chapter, you can learn how to change the content of HTML elements which you have already seen. You can also learn how to change the style of HTML elements. You can learn how to work with the event, which will also look, and we will also learn how to add and delete HTML elements. So for us to start with, the DOM is everything we see. For instance, we have something like when you are starting, I did a paragraph, I did a button, the structure, these are just elements of the document object model. For instance, if I want to get so here we have like important to control your document. You heard me saying about document or get element by document
Uh,
get element.
excuse me, Stawel.
Yes,
Hello, excuse.
yes, yes, I can tell.
Okay, it's like you are not audible. I don't know. You can try to let me try to fix all this. You are
Okay,
you are not that audible. We can't hear you. Now can you try? You can unmute yourself. Can you try to speak up?
can you hear me now?
Yeah, you are now clear.
Okay. So I was talking about the document object model. So here we have these are some of the properties the document. For instance, you have the location or applet, body, user, timeout, everything that can be found in the document. There are very many. We can't go through all of them. So we are going to start with method. So for method, the first and the common one is get element by ID. For instance, we have this. You want to get the element by ID. What do I do? I can just say maybe what is it? And then I make sure I reply it to my paragraph. So I just write paragraph. So I want to consult. Consult. Okay, let's continue. Hello. Uh, hello. Hello, Jack. Okay, it's like I don't know if you are lost in connection. Okay. I think I'm still okay, you there. Can just proceed. We can hear you clearly. Okay. Let me proceed. So I was talking about the object. So this is I was basically trying to access this paragraph. So when I want to access its inner HTML, what was written, that is this text. I'll just refresh that and gives me the LOI. We also have methods like get element by class name, or methods like maybe get element by class name, get element by tag name. For instance, we have something like maybe P class equal to maybe or or P, P yeah as equal to code. So normally these ones are so you can say code code two. These ones are normally accessed in plural form. So if I wanted to access them in JavaScript, I'll just do forms with class object go to document dot get elements by class name. Get elements by class name, and then I just say code. So this normally comes as an array. So let me just see. Class objects. What will it give me? It's supposed to give me something like a collection. Exactly. So it gives me collection one. Record gives me another collection. We also have tag name. So you can say from tag object equal to document. Let's get elements by tag name. This one is this one is now dealing with tags, HTML tags. So I can solve that also. Tag object. So it gives me something like three collections. The first one is that, the second one is that one, and the third one is that. Of course, the first one is this one. Yeah. So if you want to change the HTML elements, you just assign that value to whatever you want to change. For instance, if I wanted to change my paragraph, I would just say that in HTML equal to, okay, I can say, let me just comment these ones. So if I wanted to change, so before I change, this is how it is displayed. And then I just want to change it, that inner HTML is equal to maybe I love JS. And then console.log, again object HTML. So it's basically like you are changing a property of an object. You realize that, okay, what really happened there? I know what happened. That is what happened. So I refresh. Good. So of course here is I love JS, but initially it was writing hello world before it wrote I love JS. So it's basically just changing the properties of that object. You can also add and delete elements which you're going to do. So let me just create something like a div. Just create a div here. This div, I'm just gonna give it ID maybe temp DOM, temporary DOM, like that. So basically, if I want to add an element, we first of all create an element. So maybe I want to create a paragraph. So I'll just say const paragraph is equal to document that create paragraph. Document dot create element, and then inside I do p. So once I have that, I want to give it in HTML. I just say paragraph dot
append HTML, append child. Sorry, and just say paragraph.inner HTML is equal to, I just created these. Of course, we need to refer to that div. That div was const. Hope you can see it. Const div equal to document dot get element by ID temporary DOM, right? So I'll just do div dot inner HTML is equal to paragraph, or I can do div dot append child, append child paragraph. Let us see how this is gonna come by. Good. So you see, I just appended that, and you can append as many as possible. So, okay, it isn't really displaying the way I want it to come, but yeah. So that is the whole logic about adding and deleting an element. So maybe if I wanted to delete this paragraph, I can maybe program that this button will head here. So I'll just create another my function. My function. And then I'm going to div dot delete. Is it delete remove child? Sorry. Remove child. Remove child paragraph. This is going to remove, sorry about that. This is going to remove the paragraph. If I click, the paragraph has been removed. So this kind of function can be used in situation maybe when you want to create multiple elements directly in the DOM. The next thing I want to look at is adding event handlers in the DOM. And then I think that will be the final thing before we dive into building our calculator handlers. So for an event handlers, you remember when I started, I was using on-click. I was using on-click here. So click is one of the event handlers that we have. But this way now we want to be adding it. We want to be adding it directly in the code. So that means that we could give this an ID of my button like that. And then I will just do const my button is equal to document dot get element by ID my button like that. Then my button dot, now when I want to add an event, there are many ways of adding it, so I'm just going to do all of them. So the first one, I could do on click is equal to my function. So if this is the function, then basically it's just gonna do what I had instructed it to do earlier. Cannot set properties of null. Really. Okay. There we go. Yes. And click. I think it's that. Okay, something is basically not coming in. How did I name this button here? Oh, it was a small b. Use the capital B. Dot on click is equal to function. Okay, let's just use that. Console.log a button was clicked. So if I click, yeah, I find a button was clicked. I can also do another way. I could do my button dot add event listener. So this way I'll do the event handler in a string, and then I'll say function of whatever that event is supposed to do, and then I just console.log a button was clicked. Good. So this is also one of the valid ways. So we have a lot of these event handlers. There are very many, but because of time, I'm not going to explain all of them until there are any question before I move to the next session.
Okay, let me see. From my side, the other side for our meeting, I don't see. It seems like everyone is well contented, and on the side of the live on the YouTube, okay, I can see people are very happy. Are just sending the love emojis, so that's okay, man. You can just proceed, or yeah, because I can see there is also very little minutes that are remaining. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can just yeah.
So the last thing I'm going to do, we are going to build our application right now. So I'm just going to set up a folder there. I'll
Calculator.
name it calculator. So this calculator is just gonna take okay, just a minute. This calculator is just gonna take 3 files. It's going to take index.html, HTML. It's going to take style.css, and it's going to take script.js, I suppose. Good. So there we go. So let us start. Okay. So basically, I'll just close these ones so that we kind of not get confused at the end. And I'm just going to start by opening this index.html. So let me just copy this path. I'll copy this path, copy path, and then I'm going to paste it in another browser. So, okay, I almost saved the browser. There we go. So just create the index.html, give it an option. So let me just open this file. Good. Option Z, like that. So we are going to start by creating the structure. So this is how the body looks. If I type, of course, hello world, just make sure everything is working. Yes. So let's start. Now, so I'm going to start by creating a division. We learned that in HTML, and then I will create a table. I'll create a table. This table will have a caption, and this caption will have my calculator, like that. So it will follow the basic rules of table row. So the first table row is going to have a call span of 3. Okay, not really, just call span of 3. And then it's gonna take an input of text. Is it really tr? Not really tr, but yeah, tr. Then what is under tr is td. Good. td will have a call span of 3. And it's gonna take the first input. So this input, I'll just give input type is equal to text, and the name is gonna be screen, and the ID is gonna be screen. ID is equal to screen. Good. So the second table name, the second table row is still not done. Now this will have a TD of TD. Now this will be a row span of 2. Row span of 2, and it will have a button. This button, the class, it's going to be a clear button, I suppose. So let me just give it a clear class, and then of course for the event we want it will be running a function of clear input, which we are going to code just right away. So there we go. Let me see how this comes in. Yeah, something like that. So we're almost there. So the next thing for us to do is to just close that table row and create another one. And this one we're going to design a button. Good. Not really a button, but we're going to design another input. Sorry. So this one it will be another table data. Check the same number of call span. So the call span will be 3, and it will have an input. Of type text, of course, with a value of 0. So this second form is where the value will be displayed once you've entered it on the screen. And then we'll have style. Style is equal to text align. We are trying to align it to the right side, so that's why we have that. And then we'll have it as a read-only element. That means that once the value is there, it cannot be the answer cannot be changed. And then of course the name will be result, and the ID will be result. So let's just confirm what we are seeing here. Good. So we'll close that table data, and we'll close the table row, and then we'll create the next table row. So this next table row is going to hold various table data. Now these table data will be holding our relevant buttons. Okay. So let us start writing them there. So of course, we have the first table data. This one will have the button with an on click. Then on click. So the first button will be used to find the square root. So let me just write it. We'll code it later, and then just give it a sqrt there. Good. The next button can just allow me to do some Control C and Control V because they're kind of following the same pattern. So this one will be for rounding off. So of course, for rounding off, here will be rounding off. Then the third one will be display. Display like that. Okay. Display. Now this display, it's a function that will be carrying most of our parameters. So basically, what this function will be doing at the end of the day, you remember this app. So when I click that, so basically it will be just be displaying on the screen. So for instance, when I do a dot there, it means that this button will just be named with a dot to mean a decimal point. And then we have the percentage. This will also be display. Display percentage to mean modulus or remainder. Okay. Like that. So until there, let's see the structure of our calculator. How it's coming through. So we're done with row 1. We're moving to basically row 2. So in row 2, also I'll do the same to realize that these buttons will now just be taking display, 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 display until the end. Let me just do so. The first one will be displaying. Of course, now we are entering the numbers. So we have 1. We have number 1. Allow me to control CV. This one will become 2. This one will become 3. This one will become 4. So here we'll have 1. We'll have 1. We'll have 2. We'll have 3. And we'll have 4. That is how they will come through as buttons at the end of the day. So we move to another row since that row is already full. So I can just copy this and paste it there. So you can guess here is not really 4 because I want, okay, can do that. You can give that because I am trying to copy this. So if this was 1, 2, 3, I want here to be this division, then 4, 5, 6, then multiplication, 7, 8, 9, minus 0 equal sign, plus. So that is the goal of what I'm trying to create here. So I'll do, let me continue. So here will be 4, here will be 5, here will be 6. Of course, these ones must also display like that, 4, 5, 6, and that will be a multiplication sign, I suppose. Yeah. So going back to our HTML, there we go. Then let's finish up with 7, 8, 9. Not really. Okay, that is the second last row. We are not yet done. So we'll do display 7. 8, 9. That will take minus. So again, here will be 7, here will be 8, here will be 9, and here will be minus. Save it like that. And then the last row, this one is, I think this one will now carry. I'll just steal one from here. Okay. And then I'll just come and copy it there. But now this one is supposed to be displaying a 0. And we have these, we have these, it's spanning 2 columns, spanning this one and this one. So what does that mean? We will do a TD, we'll do a TD and make it have a call span, make it have a call span of 2. And then we'll do a button inside this table. And this button, just like the other buttons, will have an event called onClick. So these will just have a function to solve. And then, of course, we have the last operator, which we didn't do. So that is also just similar to this. You can just copy that. I'll paste it here. And it will have a plus. So we are done with the structure. So when we're done with the structure, I think we just close the table. This is how it's. Okay, let me just close this. It's kind of confusing me. There we go. So we have something like that. I see something we have not done. So this is supposed to have an equal sign. Equal sign. What is? Okay, equal sign. That's weird. Okay, very weird kind of font. So we have that. So what we are supposed to be doing that is just to now style our application. So I'll go back here and I'll just do a link. Rel is equal to style sheet. You remember this from the last class. Then I'll say type is equal to text over CSS, and then I'll do href. Href will take style.css, and of course this link has to be closed. So I'm just going to open my style.css and start working on it. So for our style.css, basically we have first of all we need to change the font. So we'll start by doing something like an all selector. I just like using the font family of sans serif. That's okay with me. And then I'll do a div. So this div is basically this div here. Remember, in the beginning, it's kind of pressed on the top because there is no styling that has been done to it. So I'm just going to give it a padding top of 50 pixel. There we go, 50 pixel. Save that, refresh. We have something like that. Now let's get into the table. So we're going to start styling our table. So our table, first of all, we want to give it a box shadow, because when you look at this table, it looks like it kind of looks like it is card-like, yeah. So I want to make my table like that. So what I'll do, I'll just say
box shadow. Box shadow, I'll give it a 0 at the beginning, 0 at the end, 50 pixel, and just kind of grayish color to make it look like that. So it's starting from top. No shadow at the top, no shadow at the right, shadow at the bottom. I mean, yeah, a shadow at the right and bottom with this color. So I also give it a margin of auto. I also give it a width of 22 rem. I use rem because of I want to preserve the responsiveness. And then I'm just gonna use align items to be center. And then I'll make it have a padding of 5 pixel. Make it have a padding of 5 pixel. And I'll make it have a border radius of 10 pixel. So when I save this file, refresh my browser, our app is definitely coming up the way we need it. Now, time to style the buttons. So for me to style the buttons, I'm just going to do button because they're just a lot and they're just the same. So I'll deny them some border, give them no border, and then I'll give them a gradient. I think you are taught about linear gradient, something like that in your previous class. So I'll just do linear gradient, hashtag F3, F4, F8, a little bit grayish and a little bit purplish. Hashtag CC BBDD. Save that file. Just refresh. There we go. Our buttons are coming. You can see. Yeah, let us continue. So I'm just going to finish the others. Display inline block, and then I'll do width 100%, width 100%, height 100%, padding 10 pixel, padding 10 pixel, and transition 0.3 second is. So transition is basically, we'll see it when we'll be hovering through the buttons. So when I when I refresh, it is coming through. I think, yeah. So let us continue. So we'll go to the clear button. I want to style the clear button. So for the clear button, I'll just say button with the clear. What I mean is basically this button here. So that button, I just want to give it a height of 75 pixel, like that pixel. So let's refresh and see button.clear, just the clear only. Good. So we have that. Now, you saw me typing something about transition. So we want to look at when we hover through these buttons, I want them to behave like that. So that one I will do, that will be button.hover, which will be background image. Also another linear gradient. This gradient is going to take 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. the hashtag, of course, the hex. And this side, just take 67899 AB. Okay, then do a color over white. So when I save that file, refresh this, it appears to come like that. Now let's move to styling our inputs. So for styling our inputs, we have width 100%. That will move this width to be stretched like that, just like that. And then border top of each input will be 1 pixel, solid, and a little bit grayish. Okay, there we go. Then we have padding to be 12 pixel, 12 px as usual. Border radius, this will be 10 pixel, and then outline, we don't need an outline. And then we'll have, we won't also need a border for these. So most probably I might have to comment that. And then we'll need a font size of 15 pixels. And we'll need a letter spacing, of 3 pixels. So when I save that and I come to my browser, try to run, I get something like that. So when I try to type, you get that spacing. But now everything is not yet solved here. Let me just handle it. So we have the input.result, which is kind of overlapping for me because of the way I issued the corresponds. So let me just fix it. Input with an ID of result. So this input here will have a font weight, because it's the answer, of a little bit bold, font size of 20 pixel, and then we have no border. Of course, they had no border, just repeating code, and letter spacing 1 pixel. What is happening here? Okay, let me just do z-index. Z-index, I want to do -8. I want it to go in the Numa. Okay, I think now the clear button is what I'll have to work with. Clear button, where are you? There we go. Z-index. Let me put a larger number, maybe 20. I don't know why it's not coming at the top. Okay, I'll just let me try reducing the width of this one with 90%. Okay, fine, it came through. So let's continue. The last thing for us to style is caption. So for the caption, just do a font size of 50 pixel, font weight of 200, and color of a little bit dark, but not that.
Excuse.
Yes.
You can just push it a little bit. There's this up. Yeah, we can't like we can't see. There's this JS HTML DOM. I've covered some content of the caption.
Okay. Okay. Let me just remove that caption so that we can see everything. Okay. Is it okay now?
Yeah, it's okay.
Nice. And then it will be hashtag B2 K98F. And another shadowing will be 0 pixel, 14 pixel, 10 pixel, and red, green, blue, alpha. Okay, 0.15. There we go. And then the last one will be 0 pixel, 0 pixel, 15 pixel, 2 pixel, and then RGBA. Okay, actually, basically these commas are not there. RGBA 0.1. Save that file. Let's see what we have. Okay. It came through. Now let's move directly to now the JavaScript part. So for the part, we have to go back to HTML and link it. So to link it, I'll just use the script. Just do script like that. Then I'll do type text over JavaScript. Then src would be not that, would be script.js. So I want to make sure this script is working. So I'm just going to open it and try to console.log hello world. I just want to see if it is really working. So I'll open my developer options. So it is it is working. And let us continue. So first of all, we want to make sure that when we start our application, so we have, if we look at this, when I reload this page, you find out that this cursor is automatically here. So what does that mean? I'm just gonna do document, okay, document dot get element by id screen, and then I'm just going to give it a focus function, so that when I refresh my browser, I mean this one, now the cursor is automatically coming there. I don't need to put it there manually. So I'll first of all start with typing, with doing these buttons. When I click them, it tells me display is not defined. Why? It's because I've not yet coded the display. So I will just code the display. I'll just do function display like that. Okay. And then in this display, remember each display value had a parameter. When we look at our HTML code here, each display value had a parameter. That's why I'm doing a val here. So this val, I just want to do a document dot get element by ID the screen dot inner HTML. Because I want the values to be appended on the screen, I'll just do plus is equal to val to append the values in the screen, and then I'll just say so let me just save that. And I refresh and I try to okay, something. Actually, it is not in HTML, but it is value. Sorry about that. Value, because now we are dealing with the form input, so it is no longer in HTML. It's value. So when I try to type, you realize that that is doing what? That is happening. Okay. Now let's go to the next part. So the next part I will actually be dealing with the solving mechanism. So I'm just going to write a function solve like that. So this function solve. Remember when we had some error handling of try catch, because these numbers are prone to jumping into some exceptions. So I'm just going to deal with that before I run into that error. So I'll do try catch and do an exception there like that. So the first thing I'm going to do, I just say let x is equal to document dot get element by ID. By ID, what are we fetching? We are fetching the screen dot value, the current value in the screen, and then I'm gonna do let y is equal to eval x. Okay, eval is a function that evaluates a string and gives out an answer of that string. So basically, if I try to console.log y, if I continue, it is something like let me just click solve. Let me just refresh and click solve. So 8 plus 9, if I click solve, it gives me the answer 5 times maybe 88. It gives me the answer. So that is basically the function of eval. So it's really going to help us here in this our calculator. So I'm just going to change it. Let answer is equal to y dot to locale string. We are trying to convert the answer to a more readable number. For instance, in this our calculator here, when I say 5 maybe times 2885, when I click equal sign, it prints for me something like this. That is the function of to local string. It just formats it to a more readable number. So let us continue with these hours. So to local string, I'm just going to do English United States. So it is US, I suppose, and then I'll then do document dot get element by ID screen dot value is equal to y then document dot get element by ID result dot value is equal to what? Dot value is equal to now the answer. So our calculator is halfway done. So we can try and see if it is coming through. So I'll just say 2 plus 2 is 4 times 3 is 12. Percentage 2, this should give us 0. Yeah, so it is coming through. So maybe we can just catch some errors. Like we have errors. Of course, we have errors. If we try to do some strings there, maybe +3, this will give you, it actually won't even, okay, won't even work. Let me say maybe s plus 2. It won't even work. It will just fail. But the reason why you're not seeing anything is because I catched that error here. So if I were to console.log the error, then this is supposed to be what you would be seeing. For instance, if I do that, you would get SD not defined or something like that. So to deal with that, I'll just say, if it is a syntax error, I'll just do if e.name is equal to syntax error. Then what do? We do document.get element by ID result.value is equal to syntax error. Now let's try it once again. Maybe we had something like, let me just refresh, 1 plus, this is supposed to give us a syntax error. So yeah, so that is working. So I also want to code this button. If I click it, it's telling me clear input is not defined. Is because we still don't have that function. So just say function clear input, like that. Once we have something like that, then we just clear everything. So document dot get element by ID screen dot value is equal to that, and then document dot get element by ID result dot value is equal to 0, because that is the default. And then we of course want to focus on the screen. So I'll just say document dot get element by ID screen dot focus, and we're done. So the focus is actually a function. Sorry about that. So when I try running it once more, this time round, to 15 maybe times 2 is that. So if I clear, it actually returns me to the initial state. So that is the function of clear. The next thing we are going to talk about, we have these mathematical functions that they're kind of bonus functions. We have the square root, rounding, and rounding off a number. Okay, so we're going to talk about that, and I see there are 2 minuses here. This one was okay, that was 0. Let me just correct that before I continue. There we go. Okay, yeah. So we're almost done, by the way. So just do function round. This is basically to just round up the answer. Function round. So function round is going to try. It's going to try again, and it's going to catch. going to catch. I'm going to give out this code and you can modify it and add more functionalities if you want to play with it. It will help you learn. So I'll say let x is equal to document dot get element by id screen screen dot value, and then I would say let y is equal to eval x, and then okay, it's almost time. I'm almost done. Y is equal to math dot sale, just to round up the number y, and of course the answer is equal to y dot to local string English US and document dot get element by id result dot value is equal to answer. So this one also we are just catching the syntax error, so we're just going to say if e.name is equal to syntax error. Syntax error. Is that so? Yep. This capital S. Good. Then what happens? What I'm supposed to do, I'm just going to say document dot get element by id screen dot value is equal to, actually it is result, sorry, not screen. Result dot value is equal to syntax error, and we are done with that function. So let's just see what it does. So if I, for instance, do 0.7, I want to round it, it gives me 1. If I tried messing up with the syntax, it gives me a syntax error. So it is working. So the last function was the square root function. So I'm just going to code it also. Just a function sqrt, just like the name. This one is just going to return for me math dot sqrt of the parameter that was inside, for instance, like that. And then I'm just going to call this function above using the function root. Function root. So function root, let x is equal to document dot get element by id screen, of course, dot value, and we're done. The last statement of this lesson will be document dot get element by id screen dot value is equal to, I can do that, some literals sqrt qrt x, and this is supposed to be result. So let's just refresh our application. So if I want to find the square root of 4, excess is not defined. Where did I do that? Okay, there we go. Found it. Okay, let's refresh again. Square root of 4. Good. So here with me, we have managed to build a full calculator. So I'm uploading the code to GitHub just right now so that you guys can be able to access it. I'm going to I'm sending the link also right now. So yeah, that's all about the basics of JavaScript. I hope you guys will practice, and happy coding. Thank you. Jack, you can take it from there.
Wow, it was a hey. Let me just start by congratulating you, Mr. Felix, for a very wonderful session. I personally really enjoyed your session. There are a lot of things I really like it. Oh, I hope you guys too, the people who are viewing us live, you really enjoyed and you really understood the concept of the JavaScript. So actually, I think that this one will be now the best site for learning things like CSS. We started with HTML, we landed CSS, and now we were in JavaScript. I hope you are well equipped, 100%, because what is being discussed here is 100%, nothing else which is still left out. So today that one marks the end of our day 4, and I can't I can't hold on with I can't wait to give you the notes. For the HTML I already shared. For CSS there is a zip file. I might send it. I'm going to send it actually. And then for this class there is Mr. Phillips. I've already pushed it into the GitHub, so I will share with you his GitHub account. And additional to that, I can see someone is asking about the attendance. The time which I gave you guys for filling up the attendance have already passed, and now I don't even have the attendance form with me, so I can't help about that. So I'll just encourage you that next time you pay attentive in class and you be available while the attendance sheet is being released. I told you guys that attendance sheet should only last for 5 minutes, but unfortunately, I've not encountered that so far. So, like now, I give over 20 minutes. I think attendance sheet was released over 20 minutes ago. So, without much ado, I can't wait to see you guys. Okay, there's that GitHub link. Uh, okay, this is fine. That's okay. So I'm going to attend the GitHub. You are going to get it in the group, and also you are going to get it in your email addresses for the day 4. So wait for day 5. Day 5 we'll start building our React.js platform by one of our great, like Fellows. Fellows has been our great instructor so far. So be blessed and enjoy. Make sure to review and do the exercise yourself. Exercise will make you understand more better than the theory. So bye everyone. Bye. Let's go.